Due to the loss of his 21-year-old son, a father has filed a lawsuit against the UK's largest oil company, BP. Hussein Julid claims that his son Ali's leukemia was brought on by the practice of flaring, or burning off gas at an oil field in Iraq that BP owned. According to a BBC study conducted in 2022, there were significant concentrations of pollutants known to cause cancer in Ali's hamlet, which is located within the field, due to flaring. BP declared, "We understand the concerns, and that it would back the changes." It's thought that this is the first instance of a private citizen suing a large oil company over flaring activities. According to the claim letter, which BBC News has seen, toxic emissions from the Rumaila oil field are to blame for Ali's leukemia and eventual death. As the primary contractor, BP bears some of the blame. Mr. Julid is requesting payment for the expenses incurred by his son's medical care, which includes chemotherapy and bone marrow transplants performed abroad, as well as for lost wages, burial expenses, and the moral loss of his son. All I'm asking is that BP listen to me and take my predicament into consideration. I am not speaking for myself alone, I am speaking for the underprivileged residents of this area who are harmed by pollution, Hussein Julid said to BBC News. Partner Wesson Jazraoui of Horsfeld and Company, the firm that is defending Mr. Julid, stated, "This is a significant instance of a carbon giant being sued for damages related to its hazardous emissions. These businesses have typically been free to engage in destructive environmental activities, especially when they take place in the global south. Burning gas created during oil extraction is known as gas flaring, and it poses a health risk to people since the gas may include a variety of chemicals that can cause cancer, including benzene." BBC study of World Bank data shows that the highest known levels of flaring in the world are found in the Rumaila oil field. One of the main points of contention, according to Hussein Julid, was that regular flaring in Rumaila need to end in order to spare more families from suffering. Ali was just 15 years old when he received the diagnosis of acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He spent 2 years receiving treatment, which included radiotherapy, several rounds of chemotherapy, and a bone marrow transplant. According to his father, he loved school and was an avid football player, but he was unable to resume classes after numerous hospital stints. After it was determined in 2021 that he was in remission, he started a local phone store since he was full of optimism for the future. It was discovered that he had relapsed a year later. In a last-ditch effort to secure the money, his father sent him to India for experimental care. But before he could travel, Ali passed unexpectedly on April 21 of last year. Ali's father said to the BBC, "It was a very sad year for the family. For his brothers as well as for me and his mother. Ali was a very remarkable individual, he served as my pillar of support and I relied on him for everything around the house, including my career. Every day we have is a sad one." Ali recorded his life in 2021 while residing inside the Rumaila oil fields limits for a BBC investigation on flaring. In Rumaila and other nearby communities, the BBC also carried out the first pollution monitoring. The findings found that locals were more susceptible to leukemia due to flaring and showed significant levels of exposure to benzene and other carcinogens, substances that can raise the risk of cancer. The Rumaila oil field is owned by the Iraqi government, but BP is in charge of running the site under a collaboration known as the Rumaila Operating Organization, RU, which also includes Petrokina. BP ratified the RU's operating requirements, which say that those who are impacted by pollution levels that exceed national limits are legally entitled to compensation. Based on its 47.6% participating stake in the field's operating business, BP's portion of flaring emissions from Rumaila was 3.7 million tons CO2e in 2021. That surpasses the yearly emissions of 2 million autos in the UK. Despite the fact that the activity took place in Iraq, Mr. Julid can file the claim in UK courts because BP has its headquarters there. BP replied the following in response to the BBC's request for comment: "BP is not, and has never been, the operator of the Rumaila field. However, we are still actively assisting the primary contractor, Basra Energy Company Limited, BECL, in its efforts to assist the field operator, Rumaila Operating Organization, RU, in lowering emissions and flaring." A week after Ali's passing and following the BBC documentaries airing last year, Mr. Julid addressed the BP board at the company's annual general meeting, requesting that it put an end to gas flaring. The site's flare was a problem, according to then CEO Bernard Looney, and Rumaila operating organization was trying to lower it. Regarding the health effects, Mr. Looney stated, "We continue to engage with local community representatives as you would expect. RU is prioritizing social welfare and fund support for community health initiatives." However, Mr. Julid claims that he has virtually daily witnessed flare and black smoke since that time. They are merely empty promises. Nothing has changed for the better. You cannot breathe the pollution in the environment, Mr. Julid told BBC News. In addition, Mr. Julid stated that after Ali's death, there have been 4 or 5 local cancer fatalities, one of which included a young boy last month. The attorneys for Mr. Julid stated that BP has 2 options: it either accept the lawsuit or negotiate a settlement. The next stage would be for Hussein Julid to file a court suit if BP disputes the assertion, at which point the case might go before UK judges.